you guys? My name is Aubrey, this is my channel, and today we're going to be talking about a popular COVID relief package program that could be coming back with a vengeance. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly what this means and, of course, exactly what this means for you. So let's get started. During the last year and a half, we've seen so many programs come and go, and many of them were extremely vital in not only helping people stay afloat, but also businesses stay afloat throughout the pandemic. We saw the EIDL program, or the EIDL program, which included a loan, a cash advance, and a supplemental cash advance. We also saw the PPP, or the Paycheck Protection Program, which was a program designed to help keep people employed rather than unemployed, collecting unemployment payments. We saw things like the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, extensions to unemployment, and so much more. But there is one crucial program that really didn't see the light of day as much as it should have, and there are talks of bringing it back, and that is the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. Well, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund is a fund that was set up to help restaurants stay open and to help restaurants recover from COVID-19, because the restaurant industry is one of the industries that were hardest hit by COVID-19 because of the fact that many restaurants had to close, dining rooms had to close, and then even once these restaurants reopened, the capacity limitations prohibited these restaurants from opening and operating at 100%. The restaurants that were most significantly hit by this were like casual dining experiences. So the restaurants where you actually go in, you sit down, you have a waiter or a waitress, and you actually dine in. Not so much the fast casual and fast food chains that many of us, including myself, eat at far too often. Now, the Restaurant Revitalization Program was a grant program, meaning that whoever got this money did not have to pay it back. It was quote unquote free money. But the problem is that with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, there was priority windows set on the people who could receive these funds first. So people who were veterans, women-owned businesses, as well as minority-owned businesses were able to get the funds before everybody else. Now, this sparked a lot of controversy, and this is something that we've talked about a lot on this channel, but the reason why there was so much controversy associated with these priority windows is because of the fact that COVID didn't just affect these groups of people. COVID and the pandemic was a global pandemic. It affected the entire world. And as a result, COVID relief shouldn't be more accessible to some people over others. But the thing that really poured gasoline on this fire and really made this controversy just explode is the fact that the Restaurant Revitalization Fund actually ran out of funds before the priority window even ended. So before the SBA and before the Restaurant Revitalization Fund could even begin to address the general public with funds and with grants, they ran out of money. And so the vast majority of restaurant owners and business owners in the food or drink or booze niche, they weren't even able to get any funding because of the fact that the Restaurant Revitalization Fund ran out of money so incredibly quickly. Now, there's a whole lot more that goes into this story, and I'm not going to touch on it here for the sake of trying to avoid being super redundant on this channel. But if you're interested in learning more about what happened and the various lawsuits that were filed, then I will include a link to a playlist down in the description below that you can check out. And in that playlist, there is kind of my more in-depth video that goes over the Restaurant Revitalization Fund and what exactly happened, as well as why it was such a disaster. Well, ever since the Restaurant Revitalization Fund ran out of money, there has been discussions about whether or not the fund would get more money and whether or not lawmakers would allocate more money to this program because of the fact that they ran out so incredibly quickly. And it looks as though as of today, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund has gotten one step closer to making this an actual reality. Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer, a Republican out of Missouri, recently introduced a new bill that would allow for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund to get $60 billion in more funding. This proposal is called the Entree Act, and if this bill was to pass, it would give the Restaurant Revitalization Fund $60 billion in additional funds. If it was to be passed in its current form, then it would give this fund this money, and there would be no expiration date of the fund. It would just expire once the funds were all allocated and exhausted. In addition to giving this fund $60 billion in more funding, it would also require the SBA to give data to Congress and to senators to be super transparent about how the program is going, where the money is going, what groups of people the money is being allocated to, and more. So really offer up transparency to how the program is being operated. Now, this is extremely substantial because of the fact that the Restaurant Revitalization Fund was only given $28.6 billion to begin with. Now, I know saying only $28.6 billion is kind of an absurd statement because $28.6 billion is a ton of money, but you guys know what I mean. Going from from $28.6 billion to an additional $60 billion, bringing the grand total to just under $90 billion. That is substantial. This means that theoretically, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund could give money to roughly 3 times as many businesses as they would initially have been able to. Now, ultimately, this is the first kind of big bill that's been introduced to try to accomplish this cash infusion. But the fact is, the idea of giving the Restaurant Revitalization Fund more money is something that has been discussed quite frequently over the last month. It's something that the SBA has considered, it's something that lawmakers have considered, it's something that's been being discussed in the news quite a lot as well, because it's something that many people acknowledge probably needs to be done. I think that there are 2 industries that have really had a tough time recovering from COVID-19. The fine dining and casual dining restaurants specifically are one of them, and the second one is the fitness industry, specifically like gyms and facilities where people go to work out. These 2 types of businesses have definitely been impacted on a national level with the pandemic, and there's been a lot of discussion to providing these 2 industries different types of grant programs and cash infusion programs to help these businesses stay afloat. The Restaurant Revitalization Fund and the Entree Act is just one example of these. Now, of course, there is still a lot that needs to be done before this will become a reality, and as you guys know, lawmakers are going on recess very soon in the next couple of weeks, and I think that it is safe to say that probably nothing substantial will happen between now and then, though I don't think it's impossible, though I do think it's highly unlikely. But it will be interesting to see what happens once lawmakers return at the beginning of September, and if they can look at getting this Entree Act passed, and if not the Entree Act, to get something passed to give this program the funding that it desperately needs. Now remember that the Restaurant Revitalization Fund is a fund that's dedicated to restaurants, but you don't have to be like a physical restaurant or a physical brick and mortar location in order to take advantage of it. You just have to be a food or drink focused industry. So for example, a brewery or a vineyard could potentially qualify, a food truck could qualify, a food stand could potentially qualify, a traditional restaurant could qualify. The amount of people and businesses that could qualify is quite substantial, and even if you don't kind of identify yourself or your business as a restaurant, there is a chance that you could still qualify if you are a food focused business. So definitely keep an eye on this. But with that being said, you guys, I wanted to make this video because I think it's an important topic to talk about, and it's one of the few pieces of COVID relief that is still active, and it's one that I truly do think could end up getting more cash available to the program. I don't think things like the EIDL are going to get more funding. I don't think unemployment's going to be extended. I don't think that PPP is coming back. All of these programs I think are done for good once they're done, and the Restaurant Revitalization Fund is, I think, the exception to the rule. So I think that this is an important topic to talk about. But like always, you guys, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next video.